Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nick and Nate Nerdy News for Nerds. Your stop for news so nerdy, the nerds who do the jocks' homework tell it to chill with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Damn, that's nerdy.
So as usual, we're going to start off with the review roundup. Alright, so this week's review roundup, we're going to be talking about Back 4 Blood.
Not 5.
Yeah, not 5. Not 5, 4. Okay, so it is standing at only 13 critics, which I don't know why, but that seems low, don't you think?
It's 13 critic reviews on the PlayStation 5.
Yeah, it seems a bit low, and that's on the PlayStation 5. Let me see what it would look like if I went to Series X. Series X, actually, funnily enough, is worse, with 22 and 75 is the critic score, whereas the PlayStation 5 only has 13 and a 77. So the last two times we've done reviews, Far Cry 6 and this one, it proves that if less people review it, it does better.
Yeah, well, because you got more opinions.
That's what you get with mediocre games, is if less people review them, they actually end up doing better. So 77 on the PlayStation 5 and 75 on the PlayStation or the Xbox Series X and S and and hey, look at this, a whole 78 on the PC. But the user score is the most gut-wrenching. I think across the board, let me make sure, we got 5.7 on the PC, 5.9 on the PlayStation 5, and 7.2 on the Xbox Series X. A bunch of Game Pass fuckboys giving it a good score. That's what's happening there. You went from 5 to 7 just because you didn't have to put any money down on it, you fuckers. Yeah, when suddenly you have to actually pay for it, you realize how mediocre it is. Sorry, that's just a little Nick rant, because it's kind of funny that as soon as you don't pay for it, suddenly you give it a higher score. Okay? Anyways, me and you have both played it. Me, I think a lot more than you, but, you know, I'm not judging.
Yes, you are. Yes, absolutely you are.
But, I mean, what are your thoughts leading into it and everything? I mean, what do you think about it?
Well, see, this is what's interesting. Based on what you just said about the reviews is something that we'll be able to or I'll be able to share. Because, you know, we have our own Game Pass.
Anyways.
So anyway, we you know, me and Nick game share. And so...
No, we don't, Sony. Damn, no, don't wink. No, we don't, Sony. Wink.
So you purchased the game.
Yeah.
But I can, you know, I'm still able to play it.
Right. Thank you for spelling it out.
Yeah. So that's the thing, is like, I feel like I have a higher opinion on it because I didn't have to put the money towards it.
Oh, okay.
Similar to the people who are reviewing it on Game Pass. Because for me, when we hopped in, I know that was a very long walk, guys. I apologize. But whenever we were playing last night, like I was like, yeah, this feels like Left 4 Dead. Mm-hmm. And I can see the mediocreness when it comes to, like, it's got a lot of the, like, fresh, clean feels, but not a lot of the shit that makes... The soul. Yeah. There is a soul missing from there, and it makes you wonder what that soul is. Was that soul Valve, or was it, you know, based on the box that they had to work in? Mm-hmm. The you know, Left 4 Dead developers trying to make a game that's not Left 4 Dead. Mm-hmm. But I really did enjoy it, and I can, you know, I it's one of those that I can see that being a regular, like, co-op game, because that is what was so great about Left 4 Dead before, is it brought back that same feeling of playing co-op with my buddies.
So, I mean, I don't want to speak too much on it, because if you want to hear all my impressions, you can go boom right there. And there's definitely some magic missing from it. You'll get it once you watch the video. There's definitely just some special magic missing from it, because I have a lot of fun with it. There's no doubt about that. But it's also just... It just kind of exists.
It exists.
You know, kind of just like Far Cry 6. When when I reviewed that last week or whatever, it's just like it exists if the only thing you wanted was Far Cry 6. That's it. Then yeah, okay, you got Far Cry 6. If, hey, you were like thinking to yourself, I want to return to Left 4 Dead, but I want it to be more pretty and yada yada, then yeah, that's what you got. But at the same time, the games that were made back in the day of Left 4 Dead, games have evolved since then. Games have become different in so many ways. And just being able to have a rudimentary card system and, hey, now you can aim down sights on any gun rather than just snipers, that's just not enough for me to go like, oh my god, this is the next step in the evolution. So let's start off with some of the reviews. Then we have 80 for Game Informer. Back 4 Blood is one of my comfort food games of 2021. It is an excellent time with friends and scratches that itch I've had since the glory days of Left 4 Dead. While it never reaches the heights of its inspiration, the addition of cards makes me hungry to play more, even when the game isn't at its strongest.
Kind of keeping that same vein, we've got 80 for PlayStation Universe. Kind of saying the same thing. Back 4 Blood stands as a new standard in co-op shooters with vibrant, intricate level design, solid gunplay, and intense moments brought on by a variety of dizzying enemy types, balanced with a deep card system. It stands as a great achievement. Holy shit, that was a long sentence. Difficulty wall is annoying and other in-game choices feel odd, to say the least, but that doesn't stop you from having an absolute blast.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on two things there. One, the enemy variety. I don't know who decided it was a good idea, but there are several different enemies that basically have enemy variants. So, for instance, I don't know what it's called in the game, so I'm just going to call it a boomer. Because you shoot it and it explodes. So, it's a boomer. Anyways, so there's a boomer, but then there's a variant of it, which is called the wretch. And the wretch throws up on you. And what's annoying about this is that they look really similar. And especially if you're looking at them like from a distance, it's hard to tell if it's a boomer or a wretch. And in a high adrenaline situation, being able to tell what something is from far away basically can inform your mind, kind of tell your mind what to prioritize. So in my mind, I would prioritize a wretch over a boomer. But if I'm spending precious seconds trying to figure out if it's a wretch or if it's a boomer, it's time wasted. You know, Now you definitely could say that the wretches don't show up until later episodes or whatever, but that's just kind of dumb. Okay, then there's a tall boy and then a crusher. Same thing, they both have a giant arm that they hide their weak spot to until they get close to you. So now you have a thing that basically hides something from you, so even more, it's hard to tell what it is until it gets really, really close. Then you have the striker and the web spitter. I don't know the names because they're not iconic enough. But I genuinely don't understand who decided that it was a good idea to have 6 different enemy types and they all just look like 3 different ones. Because then there's other ones that look completely different. Like, it was a bad decision. And then the last thing I'll see about the enemy is, I don't know if you noticed this playing, but they don't have a lot of audio cues.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of them that it's like, you know, and like I can hear that from a distance and I'm like, okay, something's nearby. Something. But I can't tell what it is. And that coming from a Left 4 Dead maker is kind of unforgivable. Like, that is one of the secret sauces of Left 4 Dead that made it so iconic. Being able to hear, what is that?
That's a boomer.
Right?
Yeah.
That was a horrible impersonation of a boomer, but you knew what it was because of the sound that it made.
Yeah.
You know? And here you have this game, and it's like, I'll hear, and I'm like, something's nearby. I hate that. I genuinely hate not knowing what's around me. I have 3D surround sound headphones that have 7.1 surround sound, but it does shit when they just literally don't make a noise to warn you that you're on their way. Now, I will admit, turning around to see a tall boy in a doorway coming to smash you is definitely a very scary moment, but it just is not Left 4 Dead. And I don't like it. I think we should just move on, because it doesn't get any better from here. So.
Yeah. Well, so Metroid Dread developers are criticizing the studio for not crediting them, which as a headline is like, wait, what?
Right?
What?
Right? And you're like, nah, that can't be right. Like, so this comes from Kotaku.
Now, Metroid Dread so far has been getting very good reviews, especially on Metacritic. I mean, it's sitting at 89 right now on Metacritic.
89, 87, yeah, I think something like that. And
people are pretty much already saying like this is one of their favorite, if not the best, like Metroid games in the series. So at least 2D Metroid games. So that being said, some of the developers want to know why they're not being mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, apparently Nintendo developed the latest Metroid game in collaboration, this is all from Kotaku here, with Madrid-based studio Mercury Steam. I guess Mercury is in retrograde. And previous developers there have taken issue with being left out of its section of the game's credits, according to a news report by Spanish-language gaming site Vandal. Mm-hmm. The quote reads, "I would like to sincerely congratulate the Metroid Dread team for putting out such an outstanding game," wrote former Mercury Steam 3D artist Roberto Miejas on LinkedIn on October 12th. "I'm not surprised of the quality of the game, though, since the amount of talent on the team was through the roof. I know this firsthand because despite not being included in the game's credits, I was a part of the team for 8 months.
I'm telling you one thing. You could take a shot of tequila after licking that up, because that was salty.
Oh, God.
That was salty AF. See, now here, this actually brings up a bigger problem in game development, is that somebody could be a part of something for 8 months, and then let's say they get let go. They could get let go because they get fired. They could get let go because they're just downsizing because they're wrapping up certain parts. Like maybe if you're an audio designer and they're all done with audio, so they kind of just put you on leave or something, or maybe they just fire you because you're not the top audio person or something, right? And there's plenty of reports out there that if you get fired or furloughed or whatever before the game's actually finished, there's a lot of people who can actually get left out of credits. Even though, like, let's say you created or helped create a key feature in Back 4 Blood, but by the time it came out, you either quit for family reasons, you quit for personal reasons, or you got fired. Even though you were a key component in that game, you could just not get credited because you didn't stay there until the game got launched. And that's a huge problem altogether.
Yeah, and like he even, there's another quote here, he even sends that home. He's like, "I've recognized quite a few assets and environments that I worked on, so yeah, my work is there." And it's like, yeah, I mean, it's good that the game is doing well. Bad that we're having to see some stuff like this.
Yeah, it would be so stupid for them to have a patch update just to put people's names into the credit.
Yeah, it would be cool if they did, like, but it's also Nintendo.
Right.
So
I mean, for one thing, it definitely sucks to hear that even Nintendo can be pieces of shit. Because it's like, we expect it from EA, we expect it from Activision, especially now. And we sort of expect it from Ubisoft or whatever. But Nintendo has kind of always been that beacon of game. At one point, I can't remember, it was sometime around, I think, the Wii U being out, that, God, I don't even want to try his name, but the leader of Nintendo took a pay cut so that everybody could continue to get paid because they weren't doing as good as usual. So he took a pay cut. And it's like, when have you heard about anybody from Activision EA doing that. Never, because they fucking don't, because they don't care about their number or their zeros and ones making their games. But then Nintendo, you hear that and you're like, oh my God, they're humans. You know, they have honor, you know? And yeah, to hear this coming from Nintendo, even if it's not Nintendo directly, it's like we do kind of expect better out of them, you know?
Yeah.
Speaking of Activision, Diablo 2 Resurrected, plagued by logon issues. Some players demand refunds. Now, Nate, answer me this. Is it surprising that the same motherfuckers of Warcraft 3 Reforged are having problems?
What?
I know. Come on. Shut up.
It is. I would say I feel sorry, but I literally don't feel sorry for any heads or any execs at Activision. But I find it extremely funny that not only is this the second game that they've had that has been so like remake, mind you, of a beloved classic.
Yep.
That is being completely set on fire, pretty much. Mm-hmm. Whether it's, I mean, there is login issues there, so I mean, there's more in the report, but. The fact of they're still battling the lawsuit day in, day out. There's a bunch of updates from that. And this, it's like, oh man, you guys are really getting your comeuppance.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say one thing, it's time to buy some stock in Activision. How could they possibly go any further down? Oh, wait. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, what are your thoughts on this? Because with Warcraft 3, I feel like you're more affected by something like this personally than I am, because I'm not a Diablo player, and you know I have not played. I know what happened with Warcraft 3 Reforged, and like I agree it's bullshit, but it didn't affect me directly.
Yeah, I played Warcraft 3 as a kid, and so even though I'm not a lot into PC gaming that much, something like a Warcraft 3 Reforged, the way it was advertised would have been like a dream come true for me. Because like I loved the original Warcrafts or whatever. Like I think my first obsession with like online gaming actually came from from RTS. So that's real time strategy. So it's really it really sucks. And then you have this where it's like what sucks the most about this is the fact that it's like, oh, okay, they're just not learning. You know?
Yeah.
Because now, I mean, obviously it's not as bad as Reforged in the sense that there were just straight up cutscenes that they were supposed to update, and all they did was just basically zoom in the camera. Whereas in the advertising and even on the website, the day it launched, it showed those cutscenes and the way they should have been, and they still didn't take it down for like 3 freaking days. So it's not that bad. But the fact that it's like, how do you F up something so bad as like allowing people to log on to your game? You know? Or for that matter, why the hell do you have to log into a single player game? Can we just all agree that's a dipshit idea for any game? Any game. You know? So like Back 4 Blood is another really good example about how if you play in single player, you don't get any achievements and you don't get any progression. Because everything's just unlocked for you. So there is literally no solo play. But if you do want to play solo play, you have to play it online. So even playing single player, you don't get any achievements, you don't get anything. It doesn't necessarily connect to show you how many things you've unlocked because you're not unlocking, but it still makes you go online. This is horrible for game preservation. How am I going to play Back 4 Blood 20 years from now if they've shut down the services for Back 4 Blood? They could put out a patch to make it playable offline, but it's just stupid that they would do it in the first place. So
on to the next. Speaking of killing, I don't know.
Killing
well,
in
there
the
is
name of...
So it looks like South Korea is finally getting in on the hype, and it looks like they're having their own Squid Games.
Yeah.
But it's the killing.
Oh.
So this article also comes from Kotaku. They are really all these really positive stories. They're just coming out of Kotaku.
We could also say it came from Philip DeFranco because, yeah, he talked about how like Mr. Beast was going to be doing something like that, and a couple of other creators were going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So Philly D, you get some credit here.
Yeah.
You need it. You don't have enough subscribers.
The Gangwon province in South Korea, a hotel there announced that it will be holding a real-life version of Squid Game later this month. According to Korea Times, St. John's Hotel in Gangwon will be hosting the event. The hotel's official site is publicizing the real-life take on the popular Netflix series, where the winner will receive $5 million.
Wait.
Which translates to... It says won on the currency, but it translates to $4,000 US.
Okay. Still, that's pretty cool. I could definitely admit, I could see, especially like Mr. Beast, I could definitely see him putting a giant like tug of war, a bunch of above a huge like pool and or foam pit, and then having him do that. And same thing with like in South Korea or whatever. It would be interesting to see these type of things, but how would you do it in a real setting or whatever? Because what made, like, there's a scene where they have to like carve out, like, have you seen it first off? Okay, watch it. There's a scene where they have to like carve.
I know, it's on the list.
Carve out a certain shape, or whatever, and if they crack it, they die or whatever. But it's like, how do you can't really do that in a real setting because there's no tension other than I'm out, like I don't know. So
yeah, well, so I mean, it's cool. The details of it, it's not restricted to just guests of the hotel. It says all ages can join. The ticket for entry is $8 US, and you have to register in advance. But those who are competing will get a mysterious business card with a phone number, says the article. Then they will go to a pine forest near the hotel and compete in 4 games. I am, just going to mispronounce this. The Mungwunk flower has bloomed. Red light, green light in PC English.
Police.
Tug of war. Oh, God. I just, whatever. It's paper tile flipping in English. And the flat sugar candy challenge.
They are doing this flat sugar candy. Wow. Okay. I don't know how. I mean, it was interesting in the show, but just because anyways, so all right.
So it's cool. It's cool to see, like, basically home country get in on the hype instead of just everywhere else.
I mean, I don't think anybody really expected it to blow up like it did.
No, I don't think
so let's get on to today's talking point: the trash fire of Battlefield 2042.
Oh my God.
Wow. So, I would say a week ago, there was part of me, I wanted to hope, I wanted to feel something deep in my soul that, hey, it'll never happen, never, but wouldn't it be awesome if Battlefield took over Call of Duty's spot? And then there was a delay, and that delay's after Call of Duty coming out. And it's like, no, but hey, we still got the beta. There's still hope.
Yeah, no. Yeah, here's the thing. Going into this, I was super excited because I was super excited because it made me, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like the energy going into this was very much like the Battlefield 3 beta, because I distinctly remember the Battlefield 3 beta. It's like Battlefield's on a high right now. This is going to be great. And what's interesting here is, I think, what console did you play it on? The beta on
PS5.
Okay, so I played it on PS4. The first match I jumped into, first off, I had no explanation whatsoever. So I don't know if I just missed a tutorial completely, or if they're just okay. Yeah, no. So literally, it's a completely different way Battlefield is played. Completely, like the mechanics are different. The setup is different. So no explanation on that whatsoever. And then I'm like, my game when I first jumped in looked awful, and I'm like, Like the frames were awful. I'm like, this just feels weird. Like this doesn't feel right. And so I think I played about like 10 or 20 minutes of it, and then I realized I still had an hour left. I was like, I really can't do this. So I bounced out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I tried again at some point the same exact situation, but this time my game was for sure broken, and I'm like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought maybe it was just one of those things I could understand if it plays better on PC or plays better on the next gen consoles. But apparently with next gen consoles, that's not the case either.
Yeah. For me, it was pretty unplayable. It was very stuttery. I would walk. Like, it was horrible. Like, I definitely couldn't. I think I shot one or two people. But it was definitely one of those situations where I played for a little bit, and shit like that I have zero tolerance for. Zero. Absolute zero. So when I first got in the game and I was like, ugh, ugh, and I started like skipping forward like that, I'm like, all right, quit, close, got back in, same thing. Just getting like wasn't rubber banding, but I was like teleporting, and so was everybody else. So it's like, okay, cool. So I tried it a different time. I was like, okay, I'll try at a time maybe not as many people are going to be on. Nope, didn't matter. Same problem. I did have an issue with like internet or whatever, and I later got that fixed or whatever. When I tried it, when I fixed everything, yeah. And I mean, you got big people like Drifter and Level Cap and Skill Up and all these people talking about how it was really fun or whatever, and I'm just like, when?
That that they had fun. That's been the most interesting thing. And for me, I think this is my first experience with everything that happened with Cyberpunk. Because whenever Cyberpunk came out, I already knew I was going to wait till PS5 to play it. So I had no intentions of playing it here. But for a lot of people that tried to play it on like base PlayStations, base Xboxes, and were so like was unplayable, I feel like I can sympathize with them now because Skill Up's video I watched as far as the review, and I remember him saying that he had fun with it, and he basically had all the same critiques that I did as well. But even then I was like, yeah, because I didn't have fun. Like the little bit that I played, it was not the Battlefield 3 or even the Battlefield 4 beta. If that. So but what was really, really mind-numbing, and I watched Drifter's coverage. So I started watching his video about the community's reaction, and he was going in real hard in the first couple minutes, and I'm like, most of the complaints that I've seen from Battlefield people are legitimate. Let me watch the actual review. And I'm not going to call it tone deaf by any means, but Drifter 100% played a different game than we all did.
Yep. He played a different game. He played it on different servers. He played it on a different connection, apparently, because he must have 1,000, like, I don't know. Sorry, go ahead. Well,
obviously, I mean, the video itself was sponsored by NVIDIA, so you know it's already going to be running on one of the like best graphics cards. He says it in the video.
Right.
But the video, here's the thing. The footage that he showed in the video looked incredible. Like, I want to play that game. Like, if I played that game, I probably would be having the same amount of fun that he's describing that he's talking about. But the problem is I feel like the majority of people did not play that same game.
Yep.
And so it does, and I'll be honest, when I watched the video for the first time, it did really come off as
pretentious.
Not
entitled.
Yeah, it came off as entitled. Yeah, well, it was one of those the first time where I was like, "Did you?" Like, I didn't doubt that he got paid extra by any means, but it's when everyone else has like had such a worse experience, and you like it seemed out of place.
Sorry, that was my bullshit meter.
Yeah, but no, yeah, it was.
Well, I just don't get how with somebody with as many subscribers as he has, apparently still allows people to get under his skin, because he made that first video where he reviewed it and it was his opinion and he made that very clear, and then he made another review about everybody in the Battlefield communities being whiny little bitches. I'm paraphrasing, but that's kind of how it felt. Like he was talking to us, is that you're a whiny bitch if you don't like this, and it's like, No,
That's
I'm
that's what
not.
seemed, yeah, no, and that's what seemed, I think, the most tone deaf. You're right, is that like all of the complaints that people are saying are valid for what we played.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
for
it's
a
like there's a
$70 game. If
disconnection.
you want this on next gen consoles, you're paying for a $70 game. This isn't a $70 game. This isn't a $60 game. This is not worth money right now. It's not worth
The
anything.
game, yeah, the game that both of us played, I agree with Skill Up. I think he said it in his review. This game needs to be pushed till next year.
Oh god, yes. I wish that would happen, but of course you're going to have two things. You're going to have corporate, and you're also going to have corporate apologists saying the same thing where like, "Oh, this is a earlier build of the Why the fuck are we playing an earlier build? I
Yeah,
don't understand that comprehension other than yeah, okay, they want to hide certain features. I understand that part of it,
but
but
that build was bad.
that was a bad build. And that's the impression you're giving a month, not even a month. Well, no, I guess it is about a month.
It
Anyways,
is a
a
month.
month before launch. A month before launch that you pushed it back, and it actually would have been a lot closer to launch if you hadn't have pushed it back. And this
Yep.
is the impression you get. What I don't get, what I don't get with a lot of like big companies is they just feel like it's like, oh, we'll fix it in post kind of attitude. This isn't a movie where like you can fix something in post or something. Like when you put it out, it's out. You know, how many people stopped playing so many countless games because, well, I tried it at launch and it wasn't great. Oh my god, dude, it's so much better. Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a different game. But I don't have the energy to re-download Star Wars 2 and basically just go, yeah, this is good, but I've got other stuff to play now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I
Yeah.
just don't get that mentality of like, oh, we have to get this out and it has to be out before Christmas. Otherwise, like, the world will explode.
This is definitely the cynic in me too. It's like you cannot tell me that between what we played, this build is that old that it all the stuff that we had problems with are going to automatically going to be fixed in the current build.
Right.
Now, there are a lot of things that people aren't happy with when it comes to the changes they've made, especially with the specialists and integration and the weapons. The whole weapon system and special system seems like it could have some issues there.
Yeah.
But another thing is like it feels like, and I feel like they've actively said this, that they're making it more for single. Like it seems like this is the first Battlefield that is geared towards single players rather than squad. And here's the thing, that's how I mostly played Battlefield. I didn't play with a squad of people actively, but I utilized the people in my squad.
Exactly.
So if I had a medic or an engineer, I would rely on them for the things that I couldn't do. And that's what's cool, and that's what's fun about Battlefield.
Man, he just like screamed bloody murder.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard.
And see, I think that's the number one thing that I almost find inexcusable is you sort of have a ping system, but now I can't ask for ammo. I can't ask for health. I can't ask for ammo. I can't ask for health. I can't tell you to attack B, or I can't tell you to, there used to be so many different things I could order. I can make orders. I could do this. There's so much communications that I could do without a mic. And now they've just completely stripped that. Mind you, they completely stripped that after a game like Apex Legends revolutionizing the ping system. So you're going to tell me you're the same company that has Apex Legends and this revolutionary ping system. The ping system that Apex Legend makers are actually giving out to other people. And you're just like, nah, we're just not going to have that. It's like, are you fucking insane? Because that is the biggest part about it. Because even before Apex, if they would have taken it out, it would have been annoying as hell. But after Apex, 2 years after Apex, and they're just like, nah, like, what? No, like, utilize your, sister and cousin developers, studios, and get them like a ping system like Apex in Battlefield, but also being able to be like, all right, you attack here, stuff like it makes sense because we already had stuff like that in Battlefield. And I think that the number one thing people are complaining about is actually the stuff that isn't there. And you could try to be a corporate apologist and say this is an early build, but there's just fundamental Battlefield stuff that isn't in there. You can make the gunplay and the feel of it feel more like Call of Duty without taking out a lot of the shit that they took out.
Yeah.
So,
now one positive thing, did you have enough time did you have enough time to play around with the like basically the new weapon modification system?
I mean, yeah, I messed around with that. That was cool, but I mean, same thing. Like it didn't matter because I couldn't play the game. I literally couldn't play the game because. So.
The one thing I'll tell you, I didn't have as much rubber banding issues. So from my experience in one of the matches I had, I was able to. It was cool to be able to go from with the same gun a medium range engagement to a long range engagement. True. Because I was basically I had my like my ACOG scope on my rifle, aiming down sight, and then there was some guys that were coming around the corner, so I was quickly able to pretty much hotkey and switch it to my red dot on the fly. And so like that is a cool feature, and it makes it feel a lot more like Ghost Recon, like the original Ghost Recon games, which I feel like is where they're kind of going with this 2042 near future kind of style anyway.
Right.
But yeah, you're not wrong. It's this game is not ready. The game that we played in the beta is 100% not ready, and I highly doubt that it's going to be by launch.
Yeah.
And it makes me sad because we already had Cyberpunk, and we saw what happened with that, and you would think that the industry would be like, hey, people don't want this, but like, and we could be wrong. But again, why did you put out a build that bad?
Right.
That build was not playable for a lot of people.
Yeah, an industry as big as EA has the tools and the representation to play test. And you could certainly say that when they play test in their closed little circuit, it's probably, buttery smooth. But you can't tell me that they send it out to all their people, because a lot of people are working remotely. So it's like, like, how did nobody know this was a thing? It's heartbreaking because, like I said, I didn't want to, but I definitely hoped that this could be a year where maybe it wouldn't have overcasted Call of Duty, but it would have done so well comparative to Call of Duty that it would have been a new leaf. But instead, we're kind of just same old. And I think that's the biggest annoyance, and that's the biggest heartbreak, is that here we go again with the mountain of potential just flushed down the toilet. Yeah. So that's what we think. If you'd like to hear what we thought about Hazard Zone, boom, right up there, we have a separate reaction video, TM, about the trailer. So go ahead and check that out. I was Nick from ThreadX3 Productions.
And I was Nate, also from ThreadX3 Productions.
If you would like to get into our maybe, I don't know. If you'd like to get into our giveaway just in time for Black Friday for $100, all you have to do is like and subscribe on this video or another video, any video. Hey, if you want to share and follow us on our medias, that's good too. But all you have to do, like and subscribe. So thank you guys so much, and you have yourself a good day.